Hi, everyone. It is time for an Ask Anything with me. I'm super excited to jump in and just to answer your questions. This is our Ask Anything session. I should put it up here, shouldn't I? Q&A time. Let me, boom, boom. There we go. All right, so we're going to be jumping into a live Q&A. For those of you who maybe don't know, every single week here at the Virtual Savvy, we go live just to talk about a subject. So there's normally some kind of training or discussion that we're all having together, attacking a different part of your business, whether it is growing, whether it's finding clients, whether it is figuring out the legalities of your business, or learning how to scale, learning how to bring on a team, right? So every single week, we really just tackle a different topic. However, every once in a while we like to just come in and do a Q&A time, because what I care about most is you guys having the resources and the tools to get you unstuck. So if you can look at where you're at in business right now, and you look at where you want to be in business, right? What is the gap? What is preventing you from getting to that next place? Maybe it is time, right? Maybe you're like, Abby, I actually know what I need to do. I have the skills, I have the education, I have the plan, I have the support, I have the courage. I am ready to go. Like, it's literally just a time thing. And if so, like, keep at it. It's just like, my goal is just to encourage you, like, keep at what you're doing because it's working. But for some of you, there's a different kind of a gap, right? For some of you, you're like, man, where I am now and where I want to be in business, that next phase, there is a gap. Maybe it's a knowledge gap. Maybe you're like, I don't actually know how to get to the next place. If so, post your questions in the comments, right? Let's talk about it right here, right now. Maybe for some of you, it is like I said, a knowledge or an education gap. Maybe there's an actual courage gap. Maybe you're like, I am just freaking scared. And if we can identify it, right, know that you're not alone, because I'm pretty sure the other people in this chat are going to say, yep, been there, done that. I'll raise my hand to it too. And we can help equip you with potentially some of the tools that helped us get through that fear gap, right, onto the next level. Maybe it is a support gap. Maybe you're like, man, I'm just really looking for a subcontractor. Does anyone have anyone, that they know would be a good fit? Like, this is a place where we can come together on a weekly basis and we can ask for that advice for one another. So I would love to hear from you guys. Go ahead and start posting in the comments and we'll just attack these one by one. Where is the gap? From where you are in business to where you want to be, what is actually preventing you from getting to that next place? What questions do you have about that next place? Even if it's just like, man, I don't know if I have questions, I'm there, but like, what do I need to look forward to? Like the best things that I have done in growing and scaling my business is, getting in touch with people that are a few steps ahead of me where I want to be and saying, hey, what do I need to be aware of about that phase of business, so I can come prepared. It's why I like to read books. It's why I like to listen to webinar trainings, and why I like to attend things like this, so that I can know what's a few steps ahead. So let's go ahead and, any questions that you have, put them in the chat and we will start going through them one by one. And this will just be kind of a Q&A time for an hour to go over all of that. I do want to mention, we've got a giveaway happening right now. If you haven't already entered, sorry, I'm like typing this in as we go. So the virtualsavvy.com/win. Who's already entered the giveaway? Let me know in the comments. So we are giving away everything you need to start a virtual assistant business in 2023. So that is the course, right? The Savvy system, the ultimate Savvy system, all of the tech trainings and the actual step-by-step marketing setup trainings that you need in order to start your business. That is some Savvy swag, right? We've got a Starbucks gift card. So it's absolutely free to enter, but you do have to enter to win. So go to the virtualsavvy.com/win if you haven't already. All right, that's out of the way. Let's go ahead and jump into our Q&A time. I'm going to go over to the chat and see what questions that you have for me. I'm so excited. Oh, Sasha, first time joining the live. I'm so excited that you're here. Yay. Go ahead and drop your questions below. This is a good one to join because it'll be super interactive. All right. Oh, this is a great question. So, how do I get started when I'm low on funds, right? Like, so what do you do if you don't necessarily have the finances to invest to start up your business? This is a really great question, and I would love to chat about it. So, if you are, I'll just go ahead and leave it up. Okay, so one of the things that I love about virtual assistants is that comparative to other businesses, it is one of the most low startup cost businesses that exist. I believe that it is the easiest to start financially, right? And it is one of the lowest barriers to entry and scale in addition. So, with the right plan, you literally can replace your income with as few as 4 clients. So, think about this, right? If you were to start any other type of business, like, I don't know, you guys can name some businesses like in the comments. So, I think of if I wanted to start like a an Etsy store, right? I wanted to start like selling products on Etsy. Well, I'm going to need to buy materials. I'm going to need to like take the time to make stuff. Then I'm going to have to put it on Etsy. Then I'm going to like have to sell one thing at a time, right? And so like and my profit margins are going to be so much smaller because let's say, I mean, even if I have really good product profit margins, I'm going to buy the materials. It'll cost me $10 and I'm going to sell this for $30, right? So I have a 20% 20, not 20%, but a $20 profit margin. But then I have to do that again and again and again and again. And so if you're thinking a $20 profit margin, the amount of time it's going to be to replace even a $2,000 a month income, that's going to be a lot of work, right? So rewind and think about if I start a virtual assistant business. Okay, what do you really need to get started? What do you actually need to start a virtual assistant business? You need a computer. You do. I do not believe in the theory that you can run your entire business from your phone. You can disprove me. That's totally fine. I do think you need a working computer. Doesn't have to be a Mac. Doesn't have to be like the most expensive, newest, whatever. I have known people to start their business by going and using the free computers at the library. Like legit, you can start your business borrowing a computer from a friend's, going to somebody's house like 3 times a week, right? It's possible. Like if there's a will, there's a way, right? So I'm not even saying that you have to go out and buy the most brand new computer, but ask a friend. Hey, does anybody have an old laptop that they're not using right now? Like you do need a working computer and reliable internet. So I do strongly believe in those two things. Other than that, you need a good plan, right? Which again, we have our Savvy System course, of course, which we are launching again, if you guys don't already know, in the end of January. So, if you do, have the time and preparation, the ability to save up funds for an investment like that, awesome. Our lowest plan starts at $97 a month, so you can kind of get ready for that. But if not, guys, I want you to again, don't limit yourself by what you think is possible. Use our free checklist and starter kit, right? The virtualsavvy.com/VA checklist is literally that step-by-step checklist of what you need to start a business. We have hundreds of videos and blogs and so much content that a lot of people have used to get started for free. And we run Facebook ads to our checklist and things like that. And you always have these people that are going to say, like, oh, you shouldn't have to pay, because we after they download our free thing, we're like, hey, here's this paid course. But the reality is that you don't have to pay anything to get started in your business. You can start complete with our free resources. And so many people will go and they will binge watch our YouTube channel, right? They'll binge watch or they'll binge read our blog. They'll use the free checklist. They'll use all the free tools we have to get their first paying clients. And then they'll say, well, man, if all their free content worked, what would happen if I got into their paid content, right? And many of them become our most successful students because they just use the resources they had to get started and not make excuses. So I know you get soapbox Abby today. So I would highly recommend using this free checklist. And guys, that's it. Like that's literally it. You don't have to do anything else. Will you eventually want to start an LLC? Yes, I am sure that you will eventually want to do that. Will you eventually want to invest in additional software or pay contractors to help you or pay to like to get a really nice, expensive logo made that's custom for you? Yes. Do you have to have all that in the beginning? No, you do not. Like, you just don't. So, I hope that's helpful. That is what I would do if I was just completely starting from scratch, and make goals for yourself, right? Like, make goals for, where do I want to be? How much do I actually need to get started? You know, do I want to sell this many packages to replace my income so I can quit my job? Like, write that down in some goals. Like, this is the best time. In fact, we're going to be doing a live stream here soon about goal setting. I think it's either next week or the next. I'll have to look and see. You guys can always look at our schedule over on Facebook. There's like an events section on our Facebook page of what live streams are coming up. But one of them is a goal setting workshop. So we're going to be working through this together so you can have a really clear plan for what's going to happen next year, because this is the best time to be doing it. All right, let's keep going. How do you overcome the fear of getting started? Oh my gosh, Angel, I so feel you, because entrepreneurship is just a scary ride. And I would love to hear too, any of you guys who are maybe a few steps ahead in this process, because I'm going to share what works for me. But I'd love to hear what works for you, because for every single person, it's different. Again, one of the things I love about virtual assistants is that because it is low cost, because it's low barrier to entry, it's also fairly low risk. Like, sometimes I have to go through the like worst case scenario of what if it doesn't work. And that might seem morbid, that might seem like really negative, but I'm actually a positive person. But I have to look at the worst case scenario and then apply positivity to that sometimes to make me feel good. So I will sometimes go to this place of like, what if it doesn't work? And then instead of it being a looming fear behind me, I put it right in front of my face, right? It's like the term face your fears. Like, I literally look at it and say, well, what if it doesn't work? Like, then what happens? At the end of the day, like, I'm still going to be okay. I still have my kids. I still have my family. I still have people who love me. I still have people who are going to support me. I'm not like tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt because I didn't start a traditional business, right? Like, there's still so many positive things, even in the worst case scenario. Now, I will say this, the worst case scenario usually doesn't happen for people who really are starting with a step-by-step plan. That's why we have that checklist for you guys. That's why we have mentors and other people. That's why we have this community, guys, so we can cheer each other along in this journey. Virtual assistance is in demand right now, you guys. With the way that the economy is, with like just the way our world is right now, more and more people actually are starting businesses. Like, businesses are still being started because of the economic downturn, right? People are like downsizing their companies from employees to contractors. So virtual assistance is actually one of, in my opinion, and if you go and you Google like best businesses to start in 2023, virtual assistance is going to show up in almost every single one of those lists. Like, I've looked, right? During 2020, like the most uncertain time, Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank, was like, if I was to start one business, like if I were to say this is the one business to start, you know what it was? Virtual assistants. Like, this is the business to start when there's economic uncertainty. So I want to just assure you in that too, because I know that's one of like the common fears that we're hearing right now. So thank you for asking that question, Angel. Let's see. I wanted to see if, yeah, I had to start telling myself, don't be afraid to fail. It helped me just jump into it. Yep. So good. So good. All right, let's keep going, you guys. I love this. Q&A times are one of my favorites just because I like to hear. Yeah, I like to hear what you guys are currently going through. This is a good question. I'm stuck on systems. How do I know what to use when I don't have any clients? Okay, so I'm gonna answer the question behind the question first. Okay, so a big thing that we say here at the Virtual Savvy is action over perfection, right? Do it scared, all of the like little phrases that we say here. One of the action over perfection for me is because I see a lot where people are waiting to get started because they don't have it all figured out. So I'm going to answer your question, but I want to make sure that before I answer the question, Erin, that this question isn't stopping you from getting started, right? Because the reality is that you can set up the most perfect systems and you could onboard your new client and be like, this isn't working for me, right? Like this isn't actually the system I like, it's not working, and you might have to find a new system. That's just reality, right? Like you will have multiple pivots. We've changed our project management system, at the Virtual Savvy. Like we've had to pivot, we had to change. Our company grew or it shifted, and our old systems just weren't serving us anymore. And so that will be like your business is never done. And the decisions are never done. It's an ever growing process of just pivot, 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 pivot. So just make sure that you're not letting this question actually stop you from getting started. That's number one. Number two, I'll actually answer the question because that's probably what you actually wanted. How do I know what to use when I don't have any clients? So my suggestion would be to look into different project management software tools. So there's three that I recommend. Okay. The first is Dubsado. Dubsado is just that's Dubsado, right? Dubsado. Dubsado is just an all-in-one system. It includes the ability for you to send your clients contracts. It has like time tracking, it's invoicing, invoice reminder. It is a total project management tool, and it is one of my personal favorites for virtual assistants. Another one is Honeybook, which is very, very similar. And I honestly have, like, we've done polls before and it was almost 50-50 of what people liked. Dubsado versus Honeybook. Like, you guys were like almost split down the middle of which you preferred. So that tells me it's a matter of personality. So it's literally just try both systems and see if one works for you. The nice thing is that a lot of these types of software, like I'm pretty sure Dubsado is free for your first 3 clients. So you can go ahead and get all your systems set up and it pays $0, which is awesome, right? The last one that I would recommend is kind of using your own project management system. Like if you want to, if neither of those really like fit your style and you'd like, I'd rather piece together my own system, you could use just a tool like Wave apps, WAVE, Wave, for invoicing and use that. And then use a separate project management tool like Asana or ClickUp or Trello, right? Like there's other tools that are just project management that you could use, and it doesn't have to, and then you just do your invoicing separate, right? So I would test all 3 of those and just see which one do I like the most, right? Which project management software. I do tend, again, to lean toward kind of Honeybook or Dubsado, but you have to go through and choose which is best for you. Okay. Oh, this is a great question. I feel like I have a knowledge gap, unsure what the typical skills are required, and know what is stopping me from moving forward. So this is actually the number one response when we ask the question, what is stopping you from starting a virtual assistant business? The number one response is, I don't think I have the skills. I don't think I don't think I actually have the hard skills, what it takes. And so what we like to do, because I'm always saying you can start a business with the skills that you already have. And people are like, yeah. Like the skills you already had, Abby. And I'm like, no. I literally knew nothing. Like, did I know how to post something to my own Facebook page? Yeah. Did I know how to do any other kind of social media management? No. I had no idea. And so the reality is that we do have tools like Savvy Vault. I don't know if you guys have checked out Savvy Vault yet, but it's a great place to start learning common tools. But again, if you're like, Abby, strapped for cash, not going to happen. Okay, then start with what you do already have. And what you already have is the ability likely to answer customer service emails, data entry, simple scheduling of social media. And the reality is that when you work with your very first client, they're going to ask you to do something that you don't know how to do. Like, go ahead and prepare yourself for that. And so what you do is not like fake it till you make it. Yeah, I can do that. I know it. I'm so good at TikTok, scheduling TikTok. And then you realize you're like, oh, I can't schedule a TikTok. Crap. Like don't fake it. What you do is that you say, I like memorize this line. I'm actually not familiar with that. I have no experience in that. However, I'm a fast learner and I love to dig into it and see if I can figure it out. That's it. And most clients are going to be really, really happy to do that. Or they'll be like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll just do it. And that's fine too, if they want to. But most clients are actually fine, because if they don't know how to do it, and you don't know how to do it, they're paying you to figure it out instead of paying them to do it. Right. Likewise, there's going to be a lot of times that a client is going to want you to help them with a system that's already established, right? So, for instance, if you're helping a client with invoicing, likely you're not going to have to come up with their entire invoicing system for them, right? They're going to say, "Hey, I'm spending 10 hours a week invoicing clients. We already have a system. We already have a way of doing it. I'm literally just going to train you on how to do it so you can take it over." And so I think a lot of times we get really scared about the what if I work with a client and they ask me to do something I don't know how to do. And the reality is, like, that's okay. And that's actually gonna happen. So there's those two different responses. Either they're gonna train you on a system that they already have in place. And over time, you'll probably improve on it and come up with suggestions. You can ask our Savvies community, hey, is there a better invoicing tool than what my client has currently? And so you can improve upon their systems over time. But you'll either fall into a system that they already have, or they'll ask you to do something you don't know how to do, and you'll say, hey, I don't actually know how to do that, but I'm a quick learner. Let me figure it out. Is that cool? Cool. And yes, you bill them for that time as well, because it's time you figuring out how to do it, um, and time that they would be spending figuring out how to do it. Okay. These are such good questions. Hmm. Can you start on Google Docs? Not gonna lie, Lisa, I totally started my business with Excel spreadsheets. Everything was Google Docs and Excel spreadsheets. That was back in 2015. If it were me, I would use some of the tools because there's just, I mean, we didn't have Trello, we didn't have ClickUp, we didn't have like all like Dubsado may have been around, but I sure didn't know about it at that time. So like, yeah, we just didn't have the tools that we have now. So if it were me, I would probably use some of the free tools that are out there, but hey, you do you, right? There's no wrong way to do it. What's the best way to reach potential clients? Oh my goodness, I could do an entire live stream on this for sure. Um, so, uh, where I will say to start, okay? Where I would say to start in getting clients is reaching out to friends and family. Know your friends and family do not have businesses, but just like you probably know one small business owner, you probably know somebody who owns a mom and pop shop or a food truck or is a real estate agent or an insurance agent, or like you probably know one online business owner, right? Just like everyone likely knows one business owner. So my suggestion is that you actually reach out to friends and family. We even have a free template on our website. I'm not sure if you guys have grabbed that, but let me put the link to it, the virtualsavvy.com/swag. So we have a free template for you guys that you can use in order to reach out to potential clients or potential clients, but also friends and family. And it's literally just the announcing of your business. Hey, here's what I'm doing. And if you know of anybody who could utilize this service, that's great. I also think local networking events are a great place to start. It's scary to show up to your first one, but literally just by telling people you're a virtual assistant, you think that the space is really overcrowded. Like you look at our community that has 100,000 virtual assistants, guys. There's 100,000 virtual assistants in our community. Like that still blows my mind. But then you go and you're like, oh, it's such an overcrowded industry. And then you go to a local networking event with 15, 20 people and you say you're a virtual assistant and people will be like, oh my gosh, like tell me more, right? And likely you'll be the only one there. And so I will say, like, going to networking events, even if you don't get your first client, it's making those connections, it's following up with those connections. It is really just starting to get the confidence where you introduce yourself and you say, hi, my name is Abby and I'm a virtual assistant. Bam, there is something powerful that happens, right? And that confidence will breed more confidence, will breed more confidence, so that over time you're able to make those connections even more confidently, and you're able to grow your business even more because of it. So that's where I would say to get started if you don't have clients yet, would be those two methods. They are my favorite. So Angela, do I recommend cyber liability insurance along with professional liability insurance, or both types necessary for VAs? So I would specifically talk to your insurance agent. I am not, I do not sell insurance, nor do I give advice necessarily on insurance. Most VAs do not start with these, but of course, it is always good to be protected. So that's something that you could do over time. If you feel like, man, I want to do this right away, go for it. I personally, I did not get that type of insurance until way later in my business. But you have to do your own personal risk assessment and talk to your insurance agent to see if it's something that would be a good idea for you. Okay. Let's see. How do I plan a business trip to a client as a new VA? Definitely. So keep track of your expenses for it would be number one. And then you'll want to talk to an accountant on how to actually, if you're doing your own taxes, if you do like TurboTax small business, it'll help you know what type of expenses you can write off. Generally speaking, like the purpose of the trip has to be for business. It can't be something else, right? And then, like I said, it's like a certain percentage, I think, that you can mark off, but you'll definitely have to talk to an accountant specifically about that. Don't want to give accounting or insurance advice on here, which I am not legally required to or able to give. Um, oh, this is a good question. Do you recommend starting a separate social media platform? So I like the idea of having it separate. So I have, sorry, I'm sucking on a cough drop because I have a really bad cough, and you guys would probably rather me doing this than hacking, but I know it's probably making me talk funny. Okay, I like the idea of keeping them separate. Not so on Facebook, do not start a new account on Facebook. Like Facebook does not like that. They want you to have one account. And what you do is you create a business page. So you definitely want to create a business page on Facebook, okay? But under your same account. On Instagram, however, there are, you create separate accounts. So you can have one for your business and then one that's personal. I like that idea. I I'm not a huge like Instagram personal user. So I have a personal Instagram that I literally have like one thing on my grid and I've never posted to just because it's like, I just saved it there so I could have the name of it. I could have that account held if I ever wanted to do that. But I pretty much only do a business one. So it's really up to you. There's no right or wrong. I like the idea of having them separate. Something else to think about, which we don't talk a lot about in this online space, is the idea that if you have things as separate, there is a possibility of selling that business someday, right? I've known virtual assistants to grow their business to a point where it was actually a sellable company. And if you do want that, you want your assets separate, right? So you want to be able to say, I have this email list, I have this social media following, I have this business page, and that you can transfer that all if that were to ever happen, which is something we so don't think about. But, it's always good to be thinking about the future legacy of your company, right? Like, do I want to hand, like, my dream would be to hand my businesses off like to my kid someday. She's 9 right now. Is she going to want that? Who knows? But like a succession plan includes the ability to hand things off. So like, why not start out in the way that you intend to go? So that would be my recommendation there. Um, okay. So many good questions. I want to be able to answer them all. So good. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to answer all of these, but I'm going through. Do you have advice for creating or finding contracts? So we do have one at the Virtual Savvy that I highly recommend. It's $97, but you get access to our contract, which was made by my lawyer. Her name's Danielle. She's like a lawyer that we pay on retainer. She created the contract specifically for virtual assistants. So it's not like a freelancer contract. It's not a general business contract. It is for VAs. And it comes with an explanation of the contract because you don't want just what you don't want to do is copy paste some contract off the internet. Like, please, please, please. I've literally had a lawsuit because of a bad contract that we copy pasted off the internet. Like, not where you want to go. So it's like, whatever. I don't care what you do. Just get a good contract. And you need to understand it too, right? Like, you need to understand what your contract says, which is another reason, the virtual savvy.com/store. So our store, we have our virtual assistant toolbox, which includes the contract, a video explanation of so you actually understand what the contract means. It also comes with a subcontracting agreement. So if you ever want to bring somebody else into your business to subcontract for you and to help you with some of the work, it includes that contract as well as a like an explanation of what that contract means, and that's $97. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend just having a good quality contract. Great questions, guys. And we're getting a few more questions about marketing. So I already mentioned You want to start out with that virtual assistant checklist and starter kit. That virtual assistant checklist and starter kit is like the step by step method of what you need to do to get started. When it comes to marketing, you want to do that personal outreach template, telling friends and family. You want to do local networking events. But I actually have a ton more marketing advice in this free training. It's the virtualsavvy.com/BBO. So you can go ahead and you can watch that training and figure out, okay, my top marketing methods are actually in that training and I go into detail about them. So check out that training as well. I could do a whole live stream just on marketing, but who runs the world? Virtual assistants. Yes, come on. I love it. I'm going to stall. And how do I suggest to get out of this and gain more clients? I'd love to know, Tamila, because we've talked a little bit about client acquisition, but I'd love to know, how did you get your current clients, right? I am a huge fan of not reinventing the wheel, do more of what works. So what already worked, right? What did you already do to get your first clients? Could you do more of that thing? Could you press in? Could you take that to another level? If it was referrals, how do I up my referral game? How do I reach out to more people for referrals? If it was that you showed a lot of value in a Facebook post, or that you posted, you responded to a job op in our group, or you found it on Hello Savvy, like, how did you get your very first client? Could you do more of that? How could you do more of what works? So this is a good question. What would you say in your first post on Instagram or first few posts? So when it comes to social media strategy, I think that it's always good to talk to your clients' pain points. Like Thais, she's one of our coaches in our higher level Savvy Circle program. It's for VAs making at least 2K in their business, wanting to scale to 10K months and beyond. She's a coach for that. And one of the things that she always emphasizes, and she's amazing on social media, you can go to Signs Global, SAENZ Global on Instagram, and they're like phenomenal on Instagram and TikTok about speaking to their clients' pain points, right? So their clients are roofers, so they don't actually talk a lot about them. Like I would do an intro post, I think that that's good, but other than that, like your socials they're not about you. Like it is about your client and their pain points and how you're going to help them with their pain points. Like that's what they care about. And so that's what you need to be speaking about on social media. I will say this as well. There's two types of marketing: active marketing and passive marketing. Passive marketing is putting stuff on socials and hoping that clients will come to you, which is actually a good strategy once you've built a great client base and you want clients to slowly trickle in. Having a social media strategy is phenomenal. And I'm not telling you don't do social media right now, but don't put all your eggs in that basket. Posting to 3 times a day on Instagram is likely not what's going to get you your first client. Your first client's going to come from relationship, from talking to people, from actually applying to job opportunities, from going to networking events, actual connections, like one-on-one conversations. That's what's going to get you. That is active marketing. It is actually building relationships, because you can just post stuff on socials and hope people come to you, but you actually have to go to them, especially for your first few clients. Once you have a first few clients, guys, referrals will start coming in, like, and that's a good time to, okay, I have my steady clients. This is probably a good time to be more active, and I can up my social media game so that like those clients will trickle in over time from social media. I'm building a following, maybe I'm building an email list. All that stuff is really important. I wouldn't focus on that at the very beginning. The very beginning, say, all right, I'm going to post to Instagram just once a week so that there's something there. Or maybe I'm going to do like 6 posts. I'm going to batch a bunch of posts, put them on there. And then I'm going to, just once a week post something so that it stays active. So if someone goes to it, they see something there, but that's not your main marketing strategy. Okay. Your main marketing strategy is relationships, is one-on-one touch points. Okay. So good. Oh, this is awesome. I love this. I started my business back in July. I officially launched it to the public last month. I was so scared. I still have moments where I'm scared, but I told myself, scared or not, just do it. Doing it scared is better than not doing nothing at all. Come on. So good. I love that. What do I put in my portfolio when I haven't had any clients? This is an awesome question. We actually did an entire live stream on this. So if you go over to YouTube and type in virtual Savvy portfolio. You'll probably see the replay of it. Someone from my team, if they're on, might be able to post a link to it in the comments as well. But the basic thing is that you want to have an intro page. You want to have like an about me, right? So you tell your story, have a photo of you. That's great. You want to list your services. You want to list your packages, right? You want to list the steps. What would it actually look like to work with me, right? And then I do think it's still a good idea to have a testimony section, but a testimony doesn't have to be a testimony with working for you or working with you as a virtual assistant, right? You can start out with just character testimonies. Is there a previous boss, or is there a manager that you currently have, or is there even just a really good friend who maybe is a business owner or is respected in their field that could attest to your character, right? And say, Emma is such a hard worker. I would trust her with anything. Even that small comment is a character reference that you could put in there. And then once you actually have paying clients, you could sub that out with like an actual business owner. So I would recommend having that because it's just, again, it's social proof. It's someone else saying that you're awesome, not just you saying that you're awesome. But yes, eventually you want to replace those with real clients, but there's nothing wrong in the beginning with just having basically like those character references at the very beginning. Um, what if I really only like doing data entry, research, customer service? I'm not into social media stuff. Oh my gosh, totally, Aisha. I get that. Like, the reality is that virtual assistants is so multifaceted, is that you don't have to just do certain things. Like, there are people who are more creative minded. There are people who are more admin minded. In fact, we have a quiz to help you figure out which one that you are and help you determine which services you should offer based off of your personality type. Have you guys taken this quiz yet? It's awesome. Our team actually put it together and I'm like so impressed by it. So it will literally list, like, based off of your personality, this is your VA personality type. And these are the services that you should offer. So I'll put it in here, virtualsavvy.com/quiz. Super, super cool. Okay. So, yes, if you don't want to do social media, you're probably not the creative. You are probably more of the expert, right? And you want to do more admin related services. Perfect. Like, go for it. That's what you should do. And the quiz will help you with that as well. Um, let's see, where was I? I'm like having to scroll back and look at my comments. Um, I have trouble building packages because I'm the kind of VA that wants to do it all. How can you say no to client because it isn't in the package? So, what I would recommend, Sasha, if you're just starting out, which I think you said that you are, is that you just do hourly packages in the beginning. Because if you like a little bit of everything, like, it's a good thing to test a little bit of everything. Like, you don't have to niche down right away. And I think that that's one of the things that people think. They're like, oh, I have to niche. Riches are in the niches. Like, I have to niche down. I have to niche down. But you're not going to know what you want to niche down to until you've experienced things. Now, if you have years and years of experience from your previous jobs doing social media and you love social media, like, do social media, right? Or if you worked in the real estate industry for 10 years and now you're starting a business, like, please choose the real estate niche, like those obvious type of things. But for people like me, right? Like, I was stay-at-home mom, like I like, and now I'm starting a business. I didn't have all this experience. I didn't have all these connections. I just started as a general VA. I said, here's the services that I know how to do. And here are, a package of 10, 20, or 40 hours a month, $30 an hour, right? Boom, monthly reoccurring packages. That's what I did. All services included. And if they asked me to do something else that wasn't in that list, I would decide, do I want to add it to the list, or do I want to say, no, that's not something that I want to do? Or I would create a separate package for that as well, right? So, because that general bucket can be so, like, open. Now you do get to choose. I will say that, like, there is such thing as scope creep. If you guys have heard of that before, it's essentially if a client is asking you to do something that is not outlined in your contract or in your agreement, right? You do want to adjust your agreement to include that, if it's something that you choose to do. So don't just let them keep, oh, and can you do this? And can you do this? And can you do this? The nice thing is with hourly is that even if they're asking you to do more things, you're still at least getting paid for it because it's the hours that you're trading, right? It's kind of like scope creep. I think a lot of times is if they're asking you to do things that are way higher level, you're like, I need to be charging you a different rate for that. So we're going to put it outside of this contract. Or like, let's say you have a package based pricing and my Instagram packages to do, and they're asking, hey, can you repurpose these on TikTok also? And you're like, I can, but that's that's outside of this, and that would be, again, more hours. So that's scope creep, right? Like I need to actually create a separate agreement, a separate package for that, or to increase your current package in order to include the hours that that new task is going to cost. Okay, so you get to choose whether you want to do it or not, and how you're going to put it into your contract and agreement. Just be aware of scope creep in the sense that, like, don't just do extra things for people for free. That's the bottom line, right? Or for like cheaper than what it deserves to be. And that's just putting it into your contract, into your agreement, and into your pricing. Let's see here. Do people hire VAs to do audits? Yeah. So, I mean, and there's different types of audits, but like personally, I've paid for a YouTube audit. We've paid for a financial audit before. I think we've paid for a Pinterest audit before. So, like, choose a platform, choose a service, and an audit is actually a really great beginning way to get into your services. So, if people don't, if like somebody's hesitant, like, hey, I have a YouTube management package, and they're like, yes, maybe. I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if I need it. I don't know really even what the strategy is for YouTube. Well, could I charge you a one-time 197 or 297 just audit package? You go audit, give them the full report where they could take it and run with it. Or if you don't want to run with all these changes, we can do it for you. Here's my monthly packages. An audit is an amazing way to have kind of your foot in the door with a business of someone who's not really ready to make a monthly commitment, but is a really turns a cold lead into a really, really, really warm lead. So yes, I totally think that audits are a great way to facilitate that. Let's see. I've had my first client. Yay, congratulations. I'm still at my 9 to 5. I'm trying to get to that next level. So for you, Angela, what I would recommend is what I recommend to anybody who has a current 9 to 5 and they're looking to transition from a 9 to 5 to full-time business owner is to come up with a plan, right? Like, what's your plan? Like, at what point would you have to like go into the future and decide, like, at what point am I going to be comfortable quitting my job? Like, put yourself there. And for many of us, it's figuring out what I'm going to do for insurance, right? Especially like if you provide the insurance for your family, that's going to be one of the big things that you have to tackle. And then, at what monthly um savings would I need to have in the bank, and what is my monthly reoccurring revenue I would need to have, right? So you may get to a point where you're like, okay, this is how I'm going to pay for insurance. Either I have a spouse, or I found this other state provided plan, or I found this like I used to use Liberty Health Share, like a health sharing plan. So look into your different health insurance options would be one of the things that you'll have to check off. And then next is coming up with, okay, I would need to have this much in the bank. Like maybe I want to have 5,000 in the bank and 3,000 monthly retainer clients lined up and ready to go. Okay. So if that's the case, put it out there, put it as a goal, and start working toward it. And so for you, that's going to mean like, okay, how many packages do I need to sell? How many hours is that? And start making a goal. I need 5 clients to do my middle package, and that's going to equal this much. And I have this much time to get there, right? It's actually plotting it out, making a plan to get there. And so then it becomes just a matter of, do I have the time, right? Like, is there anything in my personal schedule that I need to move? It is no joke. When you are working a 9 to 5 and trying to replace your 9 to 5, there is going to be a time where that's crazy. Like, I know, like, I am so anti hustle culture. Like, you don't always have to hustle harder to make more money. 100%. That's what we teach to our students who are scaling their business. But there is the reality that if you are working a full time job and building a full time business, there's going to be a small season of hustle, a small season where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm working so much, but there's a big why and there's a deadline. There is but this is going to stop because I am freaking quitting my job by mid 2023. Like, it is happening, right? And so if you can have that, then in my case, I would say, what else can you let go of, right? Like, can you get somebody to help with your kids 2 days a week so you can go work on your business? Could you, wake up earlier? Could you work during your lunch breaks? Could you, work on Saturdays? Could you give up that one activity you were doing so you have and it's only because You want to get to the point where your monthly reoccurring revenue is at a point where you feel comfortable quitting. For some of you, you're like, that sounds like too much stress. So what you're going to do is just build up your bank account bigger, right? Like any money that you make in the services that you do is just going to go into an emergency fund. So if you have 4 months of expenses in the bank, then you don't have to necessarily have the monthly reoccurring clients to be able to feel comfortable quitting, right? And so you get to decide that. That's totally up to you and on your time frame too. If you're like, I want to quit after a year, I'm just going to slowly build that bank account. Awesome. That is a very low stress way to do it. For some of you, your job is the most stressful thing and you're like, I don't care if I have to work 80 hours a week, I'm getting out of this job. Awesome. Do it. Like you can make whatever happen is going to cause you the least amount of stress in the long run. Is definitely like the path of least resistance is always my plan. Like I always want to like, what would be the easiest way to do this? But for some of you, hustle is the easiest way to do it because it's going to get you out of your job quicker. And I just know that feeling. Like I would so much rather hustle personally. I would rather hustle for 3 months to get out of a job that I hated than work at that job for a year and slowly build my income. But some of you are like, no, my job's actually, it's fine. I just want out of it. Then do the slow move. You know what I mean? So hopefully that makes sense. um, all right, a few more questions. Ooh, this is a great question. Where would you recommend finding clients for Facebook ads management? So any kind of specialized service. Again, you definitely have friends and family outreach, all of that, reaching out to small business owners, hanging out in Facebook groups. Like, where are other people hanging out? Facebook groups is a great one. You can use the keyword search. So I don't know if you've ever gone into Facebook groups. There's like the little magnifying glass. I would join like 20 groups that have at least 5,000 members in them. And on a daily basis, just go and search for the word ads, just ADS, just ads. And you're going to, either people are going to be, they might be asking for an ads manager. They may just be asking for opinions about their ads, right? And you can go and you can show really, really high value to them by giving them feedback, shooting a Loom video and say, hey, I would do this, da, 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 da. And so even if a group doesn't allow self promo, what are people going to do? Be like, what in the world? This girl knows her stuff. And they're going to click on your name. They're going to go to your personal profile because that's what happens in Facebook groups. Most groups won't allow you to join with your business page, even though it's an option. Most group owners turn that off. So you're going to comment with your personal Facebook page. They're going to click on it. They'll go to your personal Facebook page. Guys, if you don't have your business page listed on your personal page, do it today. By the end of the day, you're interacting with groups, you're hanging out with people. There are people, your friends and family, that are like, what is she up to? And they're going to your personal page and there is nothing on your personal page about your business. Please have a business Facebook page, link it on your personal profile, okay? Please, 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 please. By the end of the day, it is amazing what can happen when you just tell people what you're doing, when you just have a way for people to find out about it. And if you're interacting, I can't tell you how many times I'll be interacting in a Facebook group and I'll be like, who is this person? What do? I go to their personal profile and I see what's listed in their about section. So make sure you put that there. So that's a really great way. That's one of the methods, is that Facebook groups strategy that you can use to get more clients. So good. Okay, let's answer one more question. Emma, you've been coming at it with the questions. I love it. I love it. Such good questions. How important is branding in the beginning? Oh my goodness, I love this question. So I love branding. Like personally, I am a huge fan of having a beautiful, cohesive brand. What I'm not a fan of is if you get so stuck on it that it prevents you from moving forward. Notice a theme here. Like I'm very, very action over perfection. So, what my suggestion on what to do is to give yourself a deadline. Say, I'm going to come up with the most beautiful brand that I can, but I'm going to do it by this Friday at noon. Whatever I come up with by Friday at noon, done. That's what I'm going forward with. I can always go back and change it, right? And so, we have this whole exercise inside of the Savvy system that helps you come up with your brand. But, in the meantime, something that you can do is like, let's just say that there's a color that you really like, right? Or that you want to have like a sun, like sunshine somewhere in your name, right? Or in your branding board. You can literally go to Pinterest and just type in like blue brand board or purple brand board, right? Please don't copy people's brands. Please, please, please don't copy people's logos, brands, any of that. But they're on Pinterest for what? For inspiration. That's what we go to Pinterest for, right? Like I find inspiration for my house, for my decor, whatever. So you can go there and be like, ooh, I really like this combo of like teal and dark brown and, white. Like, yes, I want to go with that. And I want that to be kind of the colors that I use. You can, in the very beginning, guys, you can create your own logo off of Canva. There's examples there, or a really great resource is also just Etsy. Again, it's not going to be a custom designed, like it's exactly what I have in my head, but you can get a logo for really, really cheap because people just do templates, right? And so I could type in gold logo or, feminine brown logo or something, like logo with a tree, like, and you can type that into Etsy and sometimes you can get a logo for like 12, 20, $25, right? And so because they're like templates that they're using for everybody, so they can just crank them out in like 5 minutes. So that is a suggestion that I have if you are wanting a really cohesive brand, but you are not necessarily a designer. If that's something that you like to do and you want to create your own thing, go for it, but don't let it get held up. When I first started, guys, my name was Ashley Assistants, not anything creative or fancy at all. My business name was Ashley Assistants, and I literally just wrote my name in cursive on Canva, and like that was my logo. Like I just picked a font, wrote my name, download it, boom, done. And I was able to get to 10K months, have 4 subcontractors, completely replace my income and my husband's income with that. Okay. So it's not necessary. Is branding good? Yes. But don't let it be a limiting factor to go toward your success. Okay. Awesome. I'm thinking of fish and Emma. I love it. So cute. So good. I love it. All right, you guys, this has been super, super fun. Thanks for hanging out as always. If you haven't already, go to the giveaway. We want you guys to all enter to win. And the more you share about the giveaway, the more you have chances to win. So after you enter, you'll see ways to get more entries. Do those entries. Usually the people who win are the people who end up sharing it the most because they accumulate the most entries, right? So it increases their odds. So make sure that you're going to thevirtualsavvy.com/win in order to enter our virtual assistant giveaway. And thank you so much. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.